Hey, I'm John. Welcome back to Mr. G's Workbench. Thanks for stopping in. If you recall, last time we were together, we got to this point on the F-5 build. So I've got everything built up. I've got the necessary stuff masked off for now. So we're going to hit the paint booth and we're going to prime and we're going to start getting some paint on here. Let's see if by the end of today's episode we can get this completely painted. All right, let's see how it goes. We're going to jump right into it.
Sorry, I had to do most of the canopy work off camera, but I really needed the magnifier because my eyesight is poop at working with fine stuff. But let me just walk you through this really quick. The biggest mystery was figuring out how to put this and the front piece here together. They were E71 and E49. Once I got them to work together, they actually slot into this, there's like a tab on the inside of the canopy, so that slots right in. So that took care of that. It's a nice beefy installation. And then on the side rails here, on one side you have E22 and E20. They went together. There wasn't any ambiguity. It was easy to figure out how they went. And then they slotted right into there. The other side is E19 and E21. I was debating leaving that piece E19 out until after I pulled the mask out on the inside, but I think it's up against the painted section enough that it won't be an issue. And then finally, I installed the photo etch piece number 11. It kind of fits okay, but you know, I'm sure that variations in the molding of the clear canopy are kind of what decide how well that fits. So you can kind of see it there. It kind of lined up. I went in with a toothpick and some CA in the back here to try and get it shored up. I'm hoping it's in there. It feels like it's in there firmly. So if this paints and stays in one piece, I'll be delighted because it's actually a nice detailed beefy canopy. Probably the nicest one on a 32nd scale plane I've done yet. It's the next day, thanks to the miracle of video. The primer is on. I used Mr. Surfacer Black 1500 and I'm delighted with the results. I can't believe my my seam work. I managed to do a lot better than I've done in the past. So try to give you a detailed look here. So you can kind of see it. It's hard to see. It's black. I get it. And we're going to go back into the paint booth. It's a two-tone gray. So the first one's going to be 36375 Light Ghost Gray from AK Real Colors. They haven't let me down yet, so we're going to give that a shot. The only thing I forgot to prime yesterday when I was doing everything was the belly tank. I'm going to hit that with primer today after I do the gray. That'll eventually be orange. My only gripe so far with the Matterhorn decal sheet is the instructions. They put all these gray colors here at the bottom and then give you, you know, the FS numbers for them. But like in the actual diagrams, they don't pick out each one. You're kind of left to guess which one is which. So We'll figure it out though. So let's get back in the paint booth. So here we are, the finished product. All the painting is done, all the decals are done, all the overcoating is done. So I'll take a quick trip through this plane. We'll just do top to bottom, and then I'll give you my 2 cents on it, and we'll wrap it up. So let's start with the paint. I started with, I primed everything with Mr. Surfacer 1500 Black. Anything that's gray, I feel like a black base is the way to go to start. So I did that. After the primer coat was on, I used AK Real Colors, Light Ghost Gray and Dark Ghost Gray. I wasn't overly thrilled with the color at the end. The Dark Ghost Gray was almost exactly the same color as the Light Ghost Gray, and I know they're supposed to be similar. I get it. But there had to be just a little bit of contrast. When I used to use testers for stuff like that, there was a little bit of contrast between the two colors. In this situation, there really wasn't. I wound up adding a drop of black to the Dark Ghost Gray in order to get the contrast that you do see here. So I did that. The finish on the paint was good. It was a smooth finish. I thinned everything. with Mr. Leveling Thinner. I typically thinned at a ratio of about 60% thinner, anywhere 60 to 70% thinner to 30 to 40% paint. And I got the finish you see. After that, it was a clear coat of AK's Gauzy. It's they call it a gloss enhancer. It's an acrylic clear is what it is. It goes on good. You apply it wet, spray it on wet, it levels out, and you get a good coat on. Subsequent to that, I went in and I did a panel line wash with AK panel liner for gray camouflage. I like that stuff. It's an enamel. You brush it on. You just brush it on into the lines and the rivets. After it dries, you can go back in and just wipe it down. You typically don't need to even apply any kind of white spirits or thinner or anything to the cloth to wipe it off. It wipes off dry, so I really like it in that regard. So I use that. The decals are from Matterhorn Circle. They were terrific. They went down well. I only had 1 or 2 spots where I had issues with them, and I have a feeling that was more user error than anything. But they went on nice. They flattened out well. They reacted to setting solutions. I didn't even have to go crazy. I used Microsol, which is to me is like the lightest of in my scale of decal setting solutions. Wiped down any issues I had, and then I went back with a coat of Tester's Dull Coat, which to date is still the dullest dull coat that I've experienced. So I went with that. Other add-ons, the Fod Covers you see on here that you'll see, I have a couple of detail pictures of it. The Fod Covers I made out of sheet styrene to fill the obvious void left by Kitty Hawk with no intake trunking whatsoever. I know there's a couple of people that make intake trunking. I wasn't going to go for another $30 on this kit. I attached some photo etched remove before flight tags from Eduard, and I think that gives it just the offset it needs. The gun barrels in the front are from Master. They make a full set. They give you 2 gun barrels. They also give you, in case you do an aggressor where it's only got 1 barrel, they give you these parts you need to do it like a U.S. Navy plane where it's only got 1 showing. It did provide a pitot tube for the front. I trashed that pitot tube when I was taking it out of the bag. I was just sloppy. I'll be the first to admit it. So I used the kit plastic pitot tube. The only other thing I added that didn't come with the kit was the missile on the starboard wing is from Eduard. It's not the correct missile for this plane, but it's what I had on hand, and I felt that it looked better than the kit provided one, so I used it. Everything else came in the box aside from the decals. The only other issues I had, which were entirely on me, is I have a glue spot on the front windscreen from when I installed the compass against the inner frame on the windscreen. I tried to clean it up and no dice. So I'm stuck with that. And my bad as well. I scuffed up the canopy in a couple of spots when I was removing the tape. I'm ham-fisted. What am I going to tell you? Closing up the gun bay door on the starboard side was a horror. Like everything from Kitty Hawk, it was meant to be left open, and they made no provision for it being closed. I would have preferred that they gave it to you closed and just had a line inscribed on the inside where those so inclined could go in and trace it out and remove it and pop it open. But in any event, I kept the port gun bay open. I like the look of it. It does look good, and I think it helps to break up the look of the plane. If you want it to look nice and sleek like Chuck Sawyer did, then I recommend you go into large-scale planes and look for his build of the F-5 as a Navy aggressor. He explains how he closed up the doors, and he did a damn sight better on it than I could hope to do. Just be prepared for rescribing and re-riveting in any place where there's a joint. So if you want an F-5, I suppose there's the Hasegawa one in 1/32 as well. I haven't built it, so I can't comment how it compares in terms of building. So there you have it. For better or worse, that's my end product. I'm relatively happy with it, and let me know what you think. And I'll give you, Chuck had a list of corrections for the clear parts. I'll go through them just so you have them as well in case you can't find them. So here's a breakdown of all the clear parts on the kit that the instructions either mislabel or don't label at all. The navigation lights on the tops and the bottoms of the wings, they're actually GP7. They were mislabeled in the instructions. So that's the first one. The large square lights on the tail on both sides are GP5. They're mislabeled in the instructions. The two lights in the lower fuselage on the belly, those are actually GP1. They're marked in the instructions as GP9. They're not GP9, they're GP1. GP9, while we're on the subject, are the small lenses on either side of the fuselage towards the back. I don't think they're actually lights. I think they're actually viewing glass to look inside the fuselage for some kind of inspection. Don't ask me why. So those are actually GP9. And there are two clear pieces that go behind the cockpit. They're GP6. They're marked properly. Good luck installing them. I recommend, if you're going to do it, install them before you put the fuselage together so that you have the ability to kind of work with it. They're very small, very narrow, and very hard to manage. What I wound up doing was I lost one, so I wound up just using some PVA that I put on a fine tip brush and created clear lenses on both sides there. I also managed to lose one of the, there's two taxi lights that fold down underneath the intakes. I managed to lose one during assembly. I mean, it fell onto my rug somewhere and it's been sacrificed, to the carpet monster. I've looked everywhere for it. I can't imagine that I can't find a part that big, but there we are. So outside of that, take your time with the clear lenses. This isn't a bad kit. I could be talked into doing the two-seater. I might do it at some point, and but probably something not gray. Now that I got this out of my system. Let me close out with a quick talk about the channel. We're up over 358 subscribers, I think, at this point. Thank you all very much. I say it every video, and I mean it in every video. I really appreciate the fact that you're willing to subscribe to my channel and we can share this hobby together, and I hope you're getting some enjoyment out of this. That's certainly my goal. I feel enthusiastic when I build something like this, even better when I finish it, and I hope that comes across. If you want, you can take a look at my Instagram. That's my Instagram handle. I usually post work in progress pictures as we're doing any particular video. I also tend to post stuff that I'm not doing a video of. There's always stuff floating around here. As you can see, we've had this discussion already. You can go back and check my last video about modeling Mojo. There's projects there. So be sure to check out my Instagram. If you want, you can always reach me on my email, mrgsworkbench@gmail.com. Feel free to email me if you have observations, ideas, suggestions. Have at it. By the same token, if you enjoyed this video, I really appreciate it if you give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give me a thumbs down. And as I say all the time as well, if you give me a thumbs down, it helps me to learn from my mistakes. If you point out what the problem is, what don't you like? So let me know. If you've built this F5 kit and you want to share it with me, email me pictures. I'll be more than happy to post them up the next time I do a video. I'd like to do a video where we, kind of share projects and information and stuff. So maybe going forward we can do something like that. So until the next time, the next aircraft project, I have a couple of ideas. I'd like to do something that's kind of a palette cleanser at this point and not a Kitty Hawk kit. Something with a decent reputation for good fit would be a plus. So I'm going to root through the stash. I have a pretty good idea what it's going to be. I'd like to stay pretty relevant in terms of something that's kind of new. So until I see you next time, thanks again for stopping in. Take care.